what we do here is go back.
So what microphone are
You are literally talking right. What the fuck? Hello everyone. It's a happy hour. What the fuck was that?
That was my microphone falling over.
Okay. Anyway, I'm Kevin Logan. I just did a fat shit. What? What of it? And joining me, she's got an ass that won't quit and a mouth to match. It's Dr. Christy Winters.
Hello. This is quite awkward because my microphone is literally like free floating. It's out of its stand, so I'm going to need to mute myself. So,
oh, now you want to shut the fuck up. So you wanted to talk over the intro, and now you want to shut up.
Normally, before you go live, you'll say, shut the fuck up. And then I know not to talk because you're going live. But this time you didn't. You were talking about something. And then I wanted to ask you a question about your microphone before we started. But you'd already started without informing me. Technically, that's what happened. Now I'm going to mute myself and fix my mic.
Okay. And I'm going to go, oh, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go onto the settings and see what my microphone situation is. Apparently, it's the normal microphone. So if you're not hearing me properly, I don't know what the fuck the problem is. Christy.
Did I not say I was muting myself because I
had to
assemble my microphone?
You literally.
I'll just leave it on in the background while I assemble the.
You literally did, Christy.
Yeah.
You said that, and I decided to ignore that.
Yeah, clearly.
Is the problem?
Can you even hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. Well, my headphones are fine. It's the microphone stand that fell apart.
Fuck me. Okay. Well, you can hit the follow button. You shouldn't. In all honesty, you just shouldn't.
This show. It's a mess.
It's a joke. It's a farce. Honestly, I feel like we're insulting you by even doing this. But if you wanted to, you could hit the follow button. I will judge you harshly for that, though. I'm just putting that out there now. If you do follow right now, honestly, it will forever taint my view of you. But you can do it. You can also subscribe to the channel and do bits messages and stuff. As Christy moves around, she lives in a jar factory or something?
I literally have to, so it was, you know how you can get the stands that you clamp to your table?
Yes.
Okay, so the problem with the table that I inherited is that it has these sort of metal bars that line it, so it's always rounded. And so for me to get to a spot that doesn't include those, it's like really close to the wall, and I can barely turn it, and it's kind of frustrating. So yeah, it's kind of a whole thing because I have to get far enough away. Yeah, all right, I think I've got that part of it fixed now. We didn't trap any of the wires. Now that seems to be okay. All right, so let's see if they like to fit in their new home. We could be doing other things than like listening to me describe my DIY.
Christy, there's nothing more I want to do in the world right now.
This is content. This is
gold.
Streaming gold. Yes.
This
right,
is
so.
Honestly, Christy, I would cut off my right bollock to hear you do this.
Now I have to shift my laptop over a bit.
And that would just give me an excuse to scream.
All right, there we go. Okay.
Thank you, By Pagan Man, for resubscribing with 35 months. And for 200 bitty bits. Much love to you.
Well, this lead is fucked, but that's okay. I'll deal with that later.
She's still going.
Yeah, well, I had the lead running a certain way based on where the mic was prior, and now it's got to go behind the TV, but it's all fucked up. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Honestly, Christy. I get why ISIS don't like America. I get it. Okay, I'm not saying I support ISIS because clearly that would be against both terms of service and they're a precluded terrorist group, so I would be arrested for that. But I'm just saying, I get it.
Alright, so is my volume okay?
You're even chatting to dickheads in chat. What's happening here? No offense, Fogel, you're lovely, but Christy's supposed to be fucking broadcasting.
I am.
Are you actually?
Is my volume all right? You hear me okay, yeah?
Unfortunately, I can, yes. Unfortunately, okay. I can hear everything, yes. Can we go back to you? Honestly, I don't know what you were moving around. It sounded like you were in a jar factory.
Well, okay, it was the metal. There's a metal base that the arm stands in. Because I have a jointed arm where I can move my mic around. So I can swing
I
around
imagine
and move
your
it up
arm
and
is
down.
often jointed, yeah.
Yeah, so I've got a really nice Elgato microphone. Anyway, that metal base clinks around a lot, and it has to be clamped to the side of the table.
How much have you've missed everything, Mad Cat? Honestly, you've missed
the show's
everything.
Basically it's all downhill from here.
Exactly. You've missed the gold. Now you're ready for bollocks.
It was like the new Jack Off Pants segment.
Well, in many respects, better.
I'll just say one of the next things I want you to get is a better microphone stand, because I noticed listening to the Jack Off Pants segment that I sound much closer to the mic, and also my volume was.
Well, that's because you are much closer to the mic.
Yeah, so
I'm
we have to get
2 feet from the mic. Yeah.
And I know you shout and stuff, but you can also get a compressor for that. So.
Well, that sounds a lot more work than me just being 2 feet away from the microphone.
It's just an OBS. I can walk you through it. It'll be fine. You can
but
shout as loud as you want.
But I also
and also not be 10 feet away.
I'm not 10 feet. It's 2 feet. It's literally like I can touch the microphone from here. Look, see, just touching the microphone. Oh fuck! So let's do content. For the love of God.
Is it time for the wheel intro?
I mean, I usually we start off with some banter, just a bit of silliness. But honestly, this I don't know what this was. I haven't even asked you how you are.
Yeah, it's fine. I had a pretty chill Oh, okay. Can I just tell you one thing? So I had to do these. We're doing these social media little bits based on a conference, and I had one of my cameras there. And in the camera, it looked fine, but I didn't realize that the autofocus wasn't on. And so when I got it on my big screen, it just was slightly out of focus. So I found this software, and it's called like HitPaw or something like that. HiPaw, right? And I was pretty suspicious of it. It's AI, but it's supposed to take soft focus and sharpen it. It was the only thing like online that I could find. I couldn't find any filters that would help me with my current software. So I was like, okay, I'll eat the 100. I'll buy it and I'll try it out. And I tried it out on a 2-minute segment. It took 7 hours to process.
Oh, Christy.
But
I already wanted
shit.
to die before you said that. Go on.
Oh my God. No. It was amazing. Like, it looked like it was completely in focus. I was so impressed. So that was a really exciting thing that happened to me today.
That's not exciting.
No,
that's
so exciting.
It's not exciting.
No, because I've got
It's
like
not.
3 different people's video who is completely messed up, and now I can fix it all and salvage it. That's fabulous. Now I don't have to come up with a
Can
solution
you salvage my will to live?
Well, what did you do today that was really exciting?
Nothing. Yeah, I don't.
That's for later.
Yeah.
Exciting is for later.
Well, I mean, kind of. I might as well explain, right? We're on a lot earlier than usual because the football fixture schedulers fucking hate me. They literally hate me. When was the last time we had a Saturday game? I can't remember. Anyway, so there's football tonight. And I missed the last game, and I mean I could just give my ticket away to my cousin again. That wouldn't be that much of a problem, but yeah, whatever.
Go enjoy the atmosphere.
I won't. It'll be horrible. We'll lose anyway. It's like a penance, Christo.
It's a Catholic.
Going down the blues
stuff.
is like whipping myself for my sins or whatever. For wearing like fucking itchy pants or something, you know. Anyway. So that's happening tonight. So, who's destroying Birmingham? I think we've got Bristol. I think it's Bristol. I don't care. Anyway, so we're doing that. We're doing this now, but I will also be back later. Ridiculously, but technically, actually might still be technically today when I start the stream. Anyway. So I'm doing that, right, and I'll go out and get drunk, and then I'm coming back, and I'm on the reprising the hippy dippy. Internet bloodsport shouty cunt match thing, right? Which I think is the technical definition that Dylan ascribes to. With loads of people. Vosh is going to be on it, and Kraut, and loads of cunts. Anyway, and we're talking about something or other. Anyway, I'm due to be going on there about 9 Eastern, which is like 2 a.m. here in the UK. Which isn't a problem because I'm a degenerate who's awake at that kind of hour anyway. So, whatever. So I'll be back and I'll do a thing at some point later on as well.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. When was the last time you talked to Kraut?
That stream.
When was that?
Fucking 2 years ago or something?
Yeah. It'd be interesting if you think that you've seen any shifts in him.
Possibly.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna say, because I think because he occasionally will just out of nowhere just want to have a chat about stuff, and you know that because I tell you when it happens.
He pops into your DMs, does he?
Yeah, from time to time. Yeah, so I'm gonna say not necessarily don't go in there with a wiping the slate clean, but I'd be interested in, depending on the topic, if he says things that you think are not Kraut. I went into that stream trying to wipe the slate clean. He's the one that decided to shit on it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's still really. I don't know if he's really angry at you. I find out why. Just be Crow. You seem angry. Did I do something to hurt your feelings?
No, I'm just going about him having a split cock.
See, this is probably why he doesn't like you.
Well, because I'm funnier than him. Yeah, that's fair. And I have at least vaguely sensible genitals. Just saying. Anyway, no, I'm not going to go in there particularly all guns blazing with him, because there's honestly, in terms of the offenders who are in there, I mean, it's just almost wall-to-wall cuntery. So
he's on the tiers. He's not S tier anymore.
No. In this particular 7th circle of hell, he's very much 6th circle of hell. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's plenty of cunts to scream at. Apparently, I'm supposed to be talking about the war on Christmas. I will almost certainly not talk about that. It'll be about, I don't know, Israel or Ukraine or some dumb shit.
Oh god.
So yeah, get ready for that. And if it just turns shitposty, then I'll just do with that. And I'll be drunk as well, so I'll probably say something I'll regret. Almost certainly. So, if there's any better reason than that to tune in, I can't think of it.
And you might be in a bad mood because your football team lost.
Well, no, that's a given. I've factored that in. That will happen. We will lose. I will be annoyed by that. I'll be drunk and surly, so someone's cupping it.
Yeah, that's included in the constant. It's not a variable in the model.
So you have to make it science.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to all my stats nerds out there.
Wagwan. Anyway, thank you, Cicero Fields, for resubscribing 10 months. Seek help. But thank you. Anyway, yes, let's do some fucking content or whatever. We've wasted so much fucking time. We are 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
And we have done nothing. In a show where I was like, so we've got about 3.5 hours, so there's plenty of stuff and blah, 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 you know, all that. And we've just pissed time away. So,
but that's what we do, whatever we're doing on this show.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it in a more meta level, that's what the entire show is.
This show is meta, Christo. When you think about it. Anyway, let's do the wheel intro or some bollocks. I don't know.
Let's do that, yeah.
I've got to fucking switch all this shit over as well when I change the computer. So, make sure I've got fucking hamster videos and stuff. Kristen.
Oh,
This is the intro you're supposed to talk over.
Oh, yeah. Hey, how's the transfer? Are you on your new computer? How are you doing that? But you can export your OBS then?
Possibly. I mean, look, there's a difference between can it be done and can I do it. Those are two very different
that's okay.
Yeah.
I think people are starting a little bit early on New Year's. I heard some fireworks going off last night around midnight.
A little bit early. They're taking the piss, aren't they?
Yeah, I think.
Isn't it Sunday?
Yeah, it's several days from now. But maybe they just bought the package and they wanted to test them to make sure that they'd work on.
I've got a package they can test. What's up? Anyway.
Sure you do. So, is the intro over now?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So,
It's time for the wheel.
It is. It's time for wheel. We've got some stuff on there. It's not as packed as it was before, but because I wanted to make sure we got through some of it. So.
Okay.
So
you thinned it out a bit.
A little bit.
Oh.
Well, this was going to be a bit later on or whatever, but we can do it now. Fuck it. 2024 predictions. What are we predicting for next year, Krista?
Ooh. Okay. I'm predicting. Oh, why do I have to go first? This is your idea.
Well, you don't have to. I was just.
Okay,
I was,
you go. Okay.
I was
Good.
offering you the opportunity.
Okay. Thank you. I'll decline and listen to your answers first.
Okay. My predictions. Donald Trump will die. And I don't mean that in a sarcastic way. I think he'll die.
Yeah, from natural causes.
Yeah, he's old and he's going to be stressed as fuck. I think he's going to die. Possibly suicide. Just saying. I'm putting that out there now. Mark it down. Also, I think Joe Biden will refer to Rishi Sunak as either Ricky or Richie. One of those two will definitely happen. Labour will win 150 plus majority in a general election.
Okay.
I will eat more pasta than I did this year. And because I was thinking about this the other day, I didn't eat a lot of pasta this year, so I reckon I'll eat more pasta next year. I'm not going to try and do it on purpose to tilt the scales, so I'm right. I'm going to let the natural pasta-related consumption go the way it will, but I think it will happen.
Are you going to go whole wheat pasta?
As the more carbs, the merrier. Yeah, fuck it, why not?
I'm pretty sure it's healthier. So
I have no idea, Christy. What? Come on, stop stalling for time now.
My predictions would be, let's see, Trump is going to be liable for criminal prosecution. His executive privilege will not extend to criminal acts.
True.
Yeah, I think he is going to be the Republican nominee, barring a Supreme Court decision, which I don't. That's still, I'm very, very torn on that. But I'll go status quo and assume that he's gonna be the Republican nominee.
Okay.
And obviously Biden will be the Democratic nominee.
Christy,
God, can you imagine an election year where both of the major candidates die after they've been nominated by the conventions?
Christy,
be fucking chaos.
Well, I don't think that'll be a problem because I do have to interject because you're so obviously wrong about that when we know it's going to be Cenk Uygur.
Yeah, yes. I mean, what happens in that situation? This isn't the appropriate time because I'm in the middle of predictions, but do the vice presidential candidates then become
probably
nominee? I mean, because they have to name them by that point.
Also, who's his VP pick going to be? Because it's definitely not Pence again.
Yeah.
When your base has chanted about hanging the guy, I don't think you can put him on the ticket again.
Won't be Vivek.
Rhymes with cake.
Won't be, yeah.
I don't know. Who would it be?
Tucker Carlson.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Don't, Christy. The monkey's paw just curled. Another one's gone. You've tempted the fates there. So, okay, and so you're calling it for who? Biden.
Yeah. I don't think the whole using the presidency to avoid prison will go over well.
Fair enough.
In the general.
Yeah.
And it'll be another hottest year on record, 2024. Continuing the streak we've been doing since...
Well, I presume you'll still be around, so it definitely will be. Hello.
And Kevin will greatly improve his audio by the end of next year.
Oh, wow, you really are planning to bug me about it. Okay. Fair enough. That's more like a you thing than a me thing, in all honesty. That's like, can you bully me into doing a thing that I should do for myself?
Well, I mean, it worked on having you plug your internet into the...
It did. You'll have me wiping my own ass next. Jesus. Anyway, so those are the predictions for 2024. I will forget them, but...
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the only reason we still remember the primary picks is because we wrote them down. Oh, yeah. Did you see Vivek is no longer running ads in New Hampshire?
Oh, don't fuck me, Vivek. You've got to go all the way to the fucking to the conference. You've got to go, mate. Because I think I've got Nikki Haley and that bitch ain't dropping.
Oh, not yet, no.
Fuck. Anyway. So, yeah. Watch this space, even though we will forget. So, don't bother.
Good thing it's pinned in the Discord somewhere.
True. We are a very serious country, okay?
Okay, what's it about this time?
Britain, we are a serious country and we demand to be taken seriously, okay?
Okay.
An amazing story out of Grand Bretagne, if you want to be all French about it. Where are we? Hang on. Hang on. They've taken the fucking thing down. Hang on. Sorry. Yes, Blackpool Tower. Are you familiar with Blackpool Tower, Krista?
Oh, I did see this headline. No, I'm not, but presumably it's a tower in Blackpool.
Yeah, it is, and it looks a bit like
Eiffel Tower?
Shit Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
Basically, shit small Eiffel Tower. Although I think it's older than Eiffel Tower, if I remember. I could be wrong. I don't really give a fuck. Anyway, news broke yesterday that it was on fire. Right?
Yeah.
Which would be a big story.
It would be.
Except it fucking wasn't. It was some orange netting that had come free and was flapping about in the wind.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the illusion, but usually there's smoke with fire. Like a lot of smoke with that much fire.
But that's just some orange flappiness. What?
Yeah.
That doesn't even look like a fucking fire. Fucking fire brigade turned up to that. Which, to be fair, they're supposed to, I guess. But
yeah, if you report it, they're supposed to turn up.
But like that, we're so stupid. We're such a stupid country, full of fucking idiots. Like, what do you even do with that? Like, it's so pointless. It's so pointless. In the week where the pints of wine story made the fucking news.
Yes.
Like, anything's possible, isn't it? We're a very stupid place. We should stop.
There are a lot of people who wanted the imperial system back who feel completely betrayed by this government, Kevin.
Good. Fuck them. They're cunts. I want them to be annoyed by everything. I want them to suffer as they have made 70 million people suffer. Fuck them. Anyway.
That was a very, very clever title.
Thank you. I thank you.
I did LOL. I literally laughed out loud at that. Yeah.
That is... Come on now. People, if you understand that joke, get your fucking laughing lips around that one. Giggity.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yes, Donald Robinette Trump. Everyone gets it. Every middle name. Has already been banned in Colorado, the great state of Colorado. Mm-hmm. And now the great state of Maine, which literally only exists because of a story we're going to talk about later, slavery. They've also kicked him off the ballot.
Yes.
Yeah, literally. What the fuck's the position called? The Secretary of State for Maine has blocked him on the basis that he did the kind of insurrection-y thing. Mm-hmm. Did a cheeky little insurrection, and so Maine is fucked him. Which is funny, because if he did become candidate and he wasn't allowed to run in Maine, that he did get 2 of the 3 electoral votes last time, didn't he?
Did he win Maine last time?
I think he did. Yeah, and they have a transferable vote as well. So there are 3 in Maine, and he got 2 and Biden got 1, if I remember correctly. Right,
yeah, because I was saying, like Nebraska, they're the only other state that apportions it by congressional.
Indeed. So, I mean, elections have been lost by, quite narrow margins in the past. So. Yes.
So here's, this is the interesting constitutional questions that arise from this. And I haven't heard anyone say this yet. So I take what I'm about to say when it comes to devolving powers to the states, with a grain of salt. But in the Constitution, Amendment 14, Article Section 3, it says if you have previously taken an oath to protect and defend the Constitution, and you engage in insurrection or rebellion or aid people who do, then you are no longer able to stand for office.
Yes.
And I'm just recapping it for people. In Colorado, they used their process to evaluate the claims. There were hearings. Trump's side had a chance to put forth its evidence. The plaintiffs had the burden of the evidence, and they had a chance to put forth theirs. And the justices in the majority decided he had engaged in insurrection and therefore could not be on the primary ballot. Mm. And similarly, now in Maine, you have a Secretary of State who, by state law, this is the process. The Secretary of State is tasked with evaluating the eligibility and to determine whether or not someone fits the criteria or the eligibility to be listed on the ballot for, in this case, president.
Yes.
And she found, after a hearing, that he wasn't. Now, this decision can be appealed, I think, to the Maine Supreme Court. We can maybe check the article. But here's the thing. So Section 14 says something about, like, Congress making up some laws. But Congress never got around to doing that. And there's another part of the Constitution, I think it was in the original Bill of Rights, that says that any powers, like, not specifically assigned to Congress can be devolved to the states. And one of those is how to administer elections.
Yes.
So even, there is one could argue that the Supreme Court might let this be a state-by-state decision.
Yeah.
Because if this, there is some kind of due process, not just for insurrection, but for all claims, then I can't see why you would say that he hasn't had due process when he has gone through the same process everybody else has, and we've never questioned the other one.
Well, it seems absolutely to me to be a states' rights issue. Now, I know in America, states' rights is basically code for guns and racism, but there's an actual legal theory there, like you say, that powers that aren't clearly defined as being under the purview of Congress go to the states, right? And they, obviously, the way in which they run elections, as we mentioned, both Nebraska and Maine have decided to have a transferable third vote situation, which, by the way, I did fuck up. It was Trump who got the 1 vote and Biden got 2.
Okay.
But either way, it's a state that's in play. Let's say it's not. You know, it's very much a purple place. Collins aside, let's say.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should be. I think it should be about an actual state's issue. If we're going to say the way in which they run elections is individual and they're allowed to make those assessments, then surely who can run in those elections is also a state by state issue, right?
Well, they've just made abortion a state by state issue.
Yeah, like surely that would make sense. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm not a legal expert, but that seems like a pretty
if
basic
everything was done in
principle.
accordance with the laws of Maine and Colorado,
Yeah.
then on what grounds does Congress have to interfere with their process?
Well, exactly. Yeah, I mean, the obviously you will end up
Or
at
the
the
courts.
Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court should say, well, actually, the Supreme Court of the individual states should take precedent there.
Yeah,
I
and
think they should kick it straight back to the Supreme Court of the states. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's nothing in there that says convicted of insurrection. It just says engaged in.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't.
And
In
there are
the same
legal
way that.
definitions for that.
Yeah. In the same way that the what do you call it? Impeachment. You don't need a crime to have been committed necessarily.
Right.
Whatever. You know,
Yeah.
you don't need a conviction in order to do that. And the same principle seems to apply here.
So, yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So he looks a bit fucked in all honesty, which is funny. I mean, I'd like him to be beaten in an election, but I sort of don't care either way. It would be funny
Yeah.
to see him cry about it.
I'm kind of prepared for either outcome in terms of like what was going to happen in terms of the election. Like if he's just not able to get on some states, then that's a question for the Republicans. Do they want to nominate someone who can't get, any of Colorado's votes, any of Maine's votes? And once, of course, this process starts, like if the Supreme Court says it's on a state by state basis, you better fucking believe that any state that hasn't got the process going will get the process going.
True. Also, some belters in chat. My main man also works. Christie's mansplaining again. True. I guess his criminality can't be maintained. Nice. Honestly, thank you for engaging in the puns. Anyway, yes. So that's a news story breaking today. Don't say we don't cover news. We only cover weird fucking jack-off pants. It's not true. Don't listen to the haters. Right. That title only makes sense if you read it next to the other one, which is, Christie's posting weird French shit now. Ditto Austrian shit. So that,
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, what was it? Yeah. So
This one's for you, Kevin, actually.
Is it?
It's especially for you because I know you'll like it.
Especially for you. Actually, you might not know that song.
I don't think I do.
Yeah, because that was from Kylie Minogue.
Oh, before she went all...
Well, this is back in the
Everybody's doing
80s.
the brand new dance now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. With when she was in the soap opera back in the 1980s. So I'm not sure that would have translated to America at the time. Anyway, it's a shit song by a shit artist. I'm just saying. What is it? Hang on, Austrian something.
Weird Austrian shit, I think is what... Because I...
Yeah, weird. Where is it? No, that's not the one. God damn it! How far back is this?
Not that far. I think it was just in the last day or two. You might have gone over it.
Yeah. Why can I find them really easily when I'm not live, and then when I'm live, no chance? Berbers? That's not the one.
No, it's... it's
Hey,
farther
weird Austrian shit.
Yep.
Fuck me dead. Right. Right, for a start off, it's fucking muted. Right. Okay. Worth it. Definitely worth it.
I'm gonna try and get an art school.
A bad idea.
You're from Austria.
Yeah.
What if you don't get in?
I will accept it with grace.
Will you?
With grace.
Hitler jokes. Doing Hitler jokes.
Did you get in?
I'm gonna try and get an art.
Hitler jokes. Christy, Austria
I
is
know
a modern nation that's
Yeah,
moved on.
I know how much you always link Germany to the war and Austria, and so there you go. It's like, oh, Kevin, that's a Kevin joke.
Christy, it's a modern, pluralistic, forward-looking nation. I don't know why you feel the need to go back to that place all the time. I mean, I know you hate the place and you've bombed Salzburg flat.
Personally. Already?
The wheel is... I mean, the wheel is not playing ball tonight. I'm putting that out there, wheel. You've let me down. Let's just put... I'm just going to put conk in and see what comes up.
Oh, okay. It's just a random conk clip.
Conk on food.
Was there ever a plan
excellent.
to
I
give
haven't
out
seen any of those.
Yeah, well, there you go.
free crisps? Was there ever a plan to give out free crisps?
I don't think they've ever given out or thought about giving out free crisps. Although I quite like crisps.
I love crisps.
I don't think many people would argue that you can't have a decent life without free crisps.
I think I'd kill myself if I couldn't have crisps.
It was an apparently irresistible spread, like Nutella. The Quran says, accumulating knowledge is a worthy act. So Islamic mega-nerds created the first universities and libraries, comparing all the world's knowledge.
See, this is what it's like to
Which at that
broadcast
point-
with you when you're eating.
Yeah, that's fair.
Could probably fit into one pamphlet, to be fair.
The ancient Egyptians thought that onions were medicine, but they're not. They literally
They're not. It's true.
Didn't know they're onions. And that's where we get the phrase from. Of course, today, we now know that onions are not a medicine. Onions are disgusting.
Tudor feasts
True.
were huge and often included roast goose or swan or peacock, basically a big bird roasted whole. That might sound traumatic, but in the days before television, they didn't know big birds have a person inside. To find out more about Tudor eating habits, I spoke to food expert Jay Rayner.
So what sort of things did Tudor people eat at Christmas? They ate things like peacock, didn't they? What goes with peacock? What kind of gravy?
There is evidence that they ate, very exotic things, but only that would have been the very, very richest people.
I suppose the best thing about them as well is that tail, and that's not going to taste of anything, is it?
No, that's purely for display. Yeah.
A Tudor Christmas, then, they'd have peacock, like you say.
No, I think like you said.
The royals have peacock.
I don't know how much peacock was eaten in Tudor days, I'll be honest.
How did that affect their bowels? You know, what comes out of their back holes?
I don't know. I suppose if they were eating too much, it would have caused certain bowel issues.
I suppose meat, lots of meats.
Lots of meat
Compacted together.
can compact, yes.
And make sort of big hard stools.
It would have been uncomfortable, I imagine, but
What the fuck is happening? Imagine this guy like, what the fuck am I doing? What is this conversation?
I'm only guessing.
Let's see, that would have been the first bit that I'd gone to if I was a food expert.
The early farmers grew wheat and learned to bake bread. They also grew barley, peas and lentils, so they could have made a passable vegan burger to put inside the bread.
True.
But luckily, they didn't have to.
Because they don't...
Oh, yeah, non-binary. I'm doing that at 2 a.m. UK time.
Oh, wow. That is
Yeah.
late.
And, thank you, by the way, this is a nice tie-in. Thank you, non-binary, for gifting me a sub to Pixels Mixel, who I will also be going on that stream with at 2 a.m.
Oh.
Although it'd be very different their time, because they're in Australia, which is mental time.
That is
In
very
the middle of the
different
fucking day or something. Ridiculous.
Also invented this, the fence, a high-tech wooden machine for containing animals. Humans quickly enslaved sheep, chickens, goats,
Enslaved.
and the number one enemies, the cows. Farms became a lot like zoos. Except, of course, in a zoo, you can't pick out an animal you like the look of and kill it and eat it. Unless, perhaps, the zoo itself is struggling financially and the owner's lost all hope.
The world's getting hotter, isn't it? But how can we stop ourselves from turning into steam? What do we do? Should we just start eating more salad and stuff like that?
It's certainly true. We will have to adapt to a warmer climate. And we will probably have to eat different things. Because
Ice cream and stuff.
well, certainly as the world gets warmer, you know...
Probably going to be an ice ban, though, isn't it? So we can't have ice lollies.
I don't think so. It's not that bad.
Next time on Moments of Wonder, I'll be asking, why do we cry when it's the onions that are getting hurt?
If we give starving people a load of money, how do we know they're not just going to go out and blow it all on food?
If you're dealing with something like famine, you're always dealing through an intermediary who will be making sure the right food reaches the right people.
Do you have to be careful about people that might have, like, peanut allergies? Because some people haven't tried nuts before, have they?
That's a very interesting issue, whether or not peanut allergies are a sort of first world problem. Don't know, what an interesting thought.
Thank you.
It was a disagreement over money, basically. It's like the situation between me and my ex, Sean. When we used to get takeaway, or takeout, as you call it, sometimes, you know, he would always insist that we go halves. And yet he would want to buy things like onion bhajis, which he knows I hate, and they made his breath stink. So, but I had to pay for half of that. That doesn't seem fair to me. Does it to you?
Put that way, no.
No, and that's from a professor, Sean.
How did Sir Walter Raleigh invent the potato?
Well, he didn't invent the potato in that I don't think anyone actually has ever invented a root vegetable, because they're obviously being cultivated and used by people living in the Americas when he arrived there.
When Sir Walter Raleigh first saw potatoes, was he scared of them?
I think that when Sir Walter Raleigh first saw potatoes, not that we've any documented records on the moment when he first beheld a potato or a field of potatoes, but I don't think he was scared of them. This is a buccaneering character, and I think that he probably was able to take on...
Also involved in the transatlantic slave route. I'm just putting that out there. Doesn't get mentioned very often. He fucking did. Cunt.
And manage his emotions whilst engaging with potatoes at first sight.
We still celebrate potatoes to this day by buying and eating them. It's amazing to think that Queen Elizabeth was the first British monarch to be impressed by a baked potato. And the last.
Oh.
What was the Soviet onion?
You leave me under...
Oh, did you die again?
Oh, what a question. What was the Soviet onion? It's a fucking good question.
A misapprehension, and you probably mean the Soviet Union.
No, it's onion. I saw it on a bit of paper earlier.
Well, it's probably been misspelt, or you can't read very well, but I think that you mean in historical terms the Soviet...
Oh! A little bit of shade from the expert now. He's not happy.
Coming back at her.
Oh, he's thinking, fucking hell, this bitch again, we're going to have the fucking potatoes. No!
Soviet Union, or the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics.
I don't want to be rude, but I think you're mansplaining a bit. Can we stick to the topic of the Soviet onion, please?
Okay.
What exactly was it? If you don't know, it's okay to say. You know, I won't judge you.
Well, if you want to talk about sort of Russian Soviet vegetables, we can. I mean, it was a deeply agrarian country, and so there were lots of onions, lots of potatoes, lots of other things.
Did they have turnips?
I think so. Cheap, easy to grow, hardy, great in a stew.
So how come you know so much about vegetables? Have you got an allotment? Why can't we get medicine crisps? You know, because no one likes needles and everyone likes crisps.
Well, it's a fucking brilliant question. It is. It's like a child.
Yeah, she's like a kindergartner.
Yeah. Why can't we have medicine crisps? It's a fucking good question. Oh.
A thing called the risk benefit ratio. So whenever we do anything to a patient, we have to...
He's so posh, he says ratio instead of ratio. What the how fucking posh are you, mate? The fucking Queen never said it like that. Fucking crikey.
Weigh up the harm we're doing as opposed to the good we're doing. And there's always a downside. And if we had medicine crisps, I think the amount of carbohydrate and fats and salt we'd be taking in with the crisps would outweigh the good that's done by the medicine. So I think that's a very good idea, actually.
Right. And like, if you had like Monster Munch, that wouldn't work as well as medicines.
Sorry, Monster Munch. Could you explain that to me?
Doesn't know what Monster Munch is.
It's like a judge. It's like one of those old doffy judges who's like, explain what is Twitter? What is this? What is this thing? What? Who are the Beatles? Is it the little animals? What?
Yeah, that's true.
It's like a puffy crisp. They're lovely. You can get like pickled onion and beef.
Right. Again, I'd have to weigh up the risk-benefit ratio of what we call
Monster Munch.
Monster Munch mixed with the medicine, the bad it would do versus the good.
Right. Hello, I'm Philomena Conk, and this is my new range of pasta sauces. I've got wheat-free pesto, reggae enchilada, and jerk tuna, along with 35 other delicious flavours. Oh yeah, I've got a book out as well. Conk on everything. Out November the 1st. Buy the pasta sauces though, because I'm really proud of those. What was Renaissance? Was that a sort of 16th century ketchup?
Renaissance comes from the French. Renaissance, naissance is birth, so it was seen as a rebirth.
So it's not a condiment at all?
No, not as far as I know.
Okay. What sauces did they use back then?
So this is an area of culinary history I'm not very familiar with, the history of sauces.
Oh, so you're not the sauce person?
I'm not predominantly a sauce person.
We're going to have to rethink this whole interview. Why do I have to actually come and film this? Couldn't a computer just show it on the telly in the simulation? Or is that where I am? You know, do I exist at all? Why is this happening? Why isn't it just me eating a chocolate eclair in a loop, like in a GIF? I'd swap for that. Could you talk me through what makes a perfect...
That was a great conversation with herself.
Yeah.
Love it.
Christmas dinner?
Once you've got the right people around the table, you need a light starter. If you give people too much to, which is
Not
really...
prawn cocktails.
Well, I don't know. A good prawn cocktail's a lovely thing.
I don't like prawns.
Do you know?
No, they're bottom feeders.
Okay, I tend to do platters of charcuterie, salami and ham and maybe some pickles and things for people to pick at.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have that? No? Okay. And then you come to the main event. So maybe a 3-bird roast or a roast goose, bread sauce gravy.
But I don't understand bread sauce.
It's a great way of making a really savoury sauce.
Bread and sauce are two completely different things, aren't they?
True.
Well, they are, but you can grind the bread down and then cook it in milk to make a really good sauce.
It just looks like sort of... Cheers.
Look at his fucking face. Hang on.
Cheers.
He broke. Oh, wow. Wow.
To be fair, it does look a bit like jizz.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah. I once, oh my God, I saw a pornographic film where a woman was being kind of interviewed at the start, and she described cum as being like grits.
Okay.
Right? And I didn't know what that was, so I looked it up, and I was like, is that really what that... I don't know. Oh, God. Okay. That's weird. It's a weird description. And then I was just thinking about food, and I'd stopped watching porn. I'd completely drifted off from the entire masturbatory endeavour, to be honest. So, there you go. Little tidbit for you.
All right, what is up next, Wheel? What are you going to give us?
Right. You know, people do New Year's resolutions where they're going to say, "Oh, I'm going to do this to make things better."
Yeah.
What should we do to make things worse?
Okay, well, again, you've had a little chance to think about this, so give me some examples. What's on your list?
I am going to put less effort into life. I feel like I'm trying too hard, you know? Putting too much effort in, if anything.
Okay.
So I'm going to do that. Maybe I don't know, I'll just start spraying aerosols into the air. Fuck it. Why not?
Like back when we used to have the ozone layer hole?
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'm going to bring that back, yeah. Let's go retro.
Right. Okay. So the anti-resolution, I'm going to...
You know, can I suggest one for you?
Yeah.
Punch children.
No.
Why not?
God, no. God, no.
But you're at the right height.
Oh, shut up. I'm not that short.
You are quite short. How tall are you?
5'3" 3/4".
So anyone who has to put a fraction of an inch, you're tiny. Just punch children.
No, absolutely not. No, I'm trying to be healthier, if anything. Like, yeah, I don't know. All the things are like, oh, I should swear less. I should do this less. But it's the opposite of that. It's very difficult to think
You
of
should
something.
swear more.
I swear the most on this show.
Oh yeah, so do I.
Pretty much, yeah. Absolutely.
Like I obviously don't swear as much as this in real life. You get stabbed. Do you know what I mean? If you're in the shop going, yeah.
What the fuck are you doing, dickhead?
Yeah. Hurry the fuck up, prick. I got shit to do today. You know what I mean? You get done in.
I'll try to swear more next year.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Wow, we're zipping through these.
We are.
Oh, you need
the
9
Civil
minutes?
No, the Civil War one's going to take a while.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is just a little silly one.
Yes. What if people acted like dogs, Christo? What if?
What if?
Oh, it's these cunts again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like they come up in my algorithm a lot, and they have a lot of content.
Well, so do I mean. You showed me that one thing about the straight guy in Sephora, and I watched a couple of the other videos, and now it's just that fucking face everywhere on my timeline.
He's so stunning with his makeup. Like he's cute without it, but when he really goes like that extra, wow, those eyes.
Amazing.
All right.
Oh
buddy,
my
I'm
God,
back.
dude! What's up? Oh shit! Oh my God, you're back!
All
Oh
right,
my God,
I'm here. I just.
Yeah, dogs do get excited about everything.
Uh-huh.
They've gotten up to go to the kitchen. Stuff's happening.
I went out for
Okay,
coffee.
no
I said I
jumping,
was
no jumping, no
gonna get a
jumping.
coffee.
Oh my
I
fucking
don't.
God, you're back!
What? Okay, what is going on? A lot of energy.
Oh, are you gonna say hi to me or am I gonna say hi to you?
Just put down the coffee, take off my shoes, and we're gonna. What are you jumping for? Since when are we jumping around? Can you just settle down? We can watch some TV and then we can relax. Just give me a second. I'm gonna take off my shoes.
True.
Every time.
Oh,
Yep, doggos.
dogs love shit.
They are adorable.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. What if people acted like dogs? That says it all.
Is that a new segment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck you, chat. It's been said. Come to terms with it. For fuck's sake. It's just all the small ones. I've got 4 fucking tabs open for the Civil War bit, and it's going to be the last one. I needn't have fucking bothered.
I don't even. Oh, yes, I do remember this. Okay, so I have to shout out Sib. Wolf is the person who introduced me to Jacques the Ripper. And I saw this brought up in a What's the Safe Word? Like they were looking at TikTok, kinky TikTok things.
Right. Okay. And is that it?
That's all
Oh,
you
okay.
need to know.
Okay.
Here's the thing about the Secret Show. Secret Show is a PG-13 show. So we want to be very clear, parents. If you think that this has been okay, a little raunchy, but okay, believe us when we tell you it is about to get so much worse. And you know why it's going to get worse? Because I'm French.
Yeah, you would think after all the years you've been here being French and all, your accent would have gotten better.
All right, look. I can do a proper French accent, but here's the problem with the proper French accent. Is the problem with if you do a proper French accent is the people they have a hard time understanding you. And the problem is they need to concentrate on the words. They need to focus, all right? And this is the problem. When the audience has to focus, it creates all sorts of problems. I don't want the audience to have to focus, all right? You understand what I'm saying, Seth? Yes, but Seth, you need to focus now, all right? This is the problem. This is the problem. I saw the king the other day and I said, oh, Your Highness. It is so good to see Your Highness today. And the king...
Your Highness.
I did not understand why the king was upset, so I turned to the queen. I said, oh, Your Highness is looking beautiful. And she got upset, and I didn't understand why. And this is the problem. I do not want people to feel upset. I want people to feel the joy. I want them to feel happiness, all right? I want you to feel happiness. I want you to feel happiness. I want everyone here to feel happiness. And I want to remind you that children should not be at this show.
He's got an energy, hasn't he?
You like that?
Yeah. He's, there's a... Getting Jim Carrey vibes.
Toss a coin to your whipper, or maybe.
Anyway, you get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was weird French shit. Your anus.
Kevin, you need to fuck us.
Fair enough. Well, we're nearly done. We'll get to it.
Yeah, and you can't spell happiness without penis.
True. Or hap.
Nor that.
Yeah. Hey, fuck me dead. Right. So, there's been some discourse, hasn't there, Christo?
A little bit.
A little bit of discourse going on about the current affairs topic from the 1860s of the American Civil War.
Yeah, apparently education is still a problem in the United States.
Yeah, but not just for children, but apparently for presidential candidates as well.
Well, what's amazing is how well she speaks the white supremacist coded language.
Well, she kind of has to as a GOP candidate, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Because to a normal person, it sounds like she's including everybody.
Yeah.
But she wasn't.
Yeah.
Because that's not what the war was about.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to preempt all of this, it was about slavery.
Yeah, just...
Like, you don't... Look, you can make it more sort of academic, and, like, you can big it up. And if you wanted to go and find out a little bit more about the background to it, I would suggest the online Yale course, which is available, which is an entire series of, like, 17-hour-long lectures, which makes up the course for the opening year undergraduate course for American Civil War history, which is very, very good and in-depth and goes through all of the lead up to the Civil War and the actual thing and then the Reconstruction and blah, blah, blah. It's fantastic. But to boil it down, it's about slavery. That's why it started. That's why it happened.
Cliff Notes. Yep.
Yeah.
LDR.
Anyway, so let's listen to what Nikki Haley had to say, because she's a presidential candidate. Ridiculously.
That is on the U.S. citizenship tests. It's straightforward. There's no trickery, no nuance. And yet Nikki Haley managed to complicate what is uncomplicated.
I mean, I think the cause of the Civil War was basically how government was going to run, the freedoms and what people could and couldn't do. I mean, I think it...
Yeah, what specific things that... Like, what was the government maybe trying to stop people from doing? that the people
Yeah,
had a problem with.
What people could or couldn't do something, and what couldn't or could they do?
Exactly, yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, states' rights, okay. States' rights to do what? Or to not do what? Intriguing.
It always comes down to the role of government.
Also, very interesting that she's being a fascist in Berlin. Just pointing that out there.
Oh, Berlin. It's probably Berlin. Berlin, New Hampshire.
Berlin, New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
Like Louisville. Louisville.
It's all like you're joking.
Good they do. They say it weird. Louisville. 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 Fuck's sake.
And what the rights of the
Nolans.
people are. And I will always stand by the fact that I think government was intended to secure the rights and freedoms of the people. It was never meant to be.
Okay, but what about the millions of people who were enslaved? Because you're not even mentioning that bit.
Yeah, she's just going to skip over the actual enslaved human beings whose lives were. Yeah.
I think it's worth asking the question, Nikki, because you've not really been very clear on this. Did you support the union in that endeavour?
Oh wait, what was the first state to secede?
That would have been South Carolina, which I believe is where Nikki Haley originates from. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's that. Look, you can't the sins of the father and all of that jazz. Okay, just because she's from South Carolina doesn't mean they're all fucking crazy bastards. Although some of them are clearly.
Mm-hmm.
All things to all people. What do you want me to say about slavery?
That it's bad would be a start.
Yeah, that's a good place to start.
Yeah, or that it was the inciting reason for the Civil War. Would be another possible thing you could say about it. Maybe.
Now, the word you did not hear there in the initial part of the answer is slavery. So this morning, Nikki Haley dusted herself off and she tried again and still did not succeed.
Oh no.
The Civil War was about slavery. We know that. That's the easy part of it. What I was saying was, what does it mean to us today? Our goal is to make
That is the worst fucking covering your ass I've ever seen. That's embarrassing. I wasn't answering about what it was about, even though that's literally what I was asked. I was answering a completely different question about what it means today. It's like that thing where Marge asks Homer, "You're not even listening to me, are you?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'd love some omelettes." It's just, what are you talking about?
No, we never go back to the stain of slavery, but what's the lesson in all of that?
Where attempt number 2 fell flat, so did attempt number 3.
Of course the Civil War was about slavery.
You're going to lose a lot of GOP votes with this. Honestly, saying it was about slavery will lose you GOP votes.
She should have
Fucking Yankee bitch.
written out her answer for the second time so she didn't have to do it a third time.
Christy, she can't fucking write. What are you talking about?
That's unquestioned, always the case.
Is it unquestioned? Have you been to a GOP gathering? It does seem to be rather significantly questioned, unfortunately.
The War of Northern Aggression?
Yeah.
No, the Civil War was about slavery. But it was also more than that.
Oh, God.
It was about the freedoms of every individual. It was about the role of government.
Right, okay. She's not totally incorrect. We know she's like dog whistling, but she's not actually literally incorrect. But what I will say, in terms of her making... I think she's trying to make a small government point.
Well, yeah, this is what's kind of weird about saying it's about the role of government. But you finish your thought first.
Well, I was just going to say, in the first 4 months of the American Civil War, the federal government spent more money than it had spent in the previous 10 years. The size of the federal government in America vastly expanded. I think I'm right in saying all but one constitutional amendment to that point restricted the power of the federal government, and nearly everyone since has expanded it. The role of government in America drastically changed for the much larger than it had ever been before.
Yeah, what she's basically saying, it was right for the federal government to use its power to go into states where previous contracts of property were considered valid, declare them invalid, and then deprive slave owners of their property by acknowledging them as citizens who can't be owned.
Yes.
And that was the right and moral thing to do. Okay. Like, I don't disagree with that, but that just seems like you're really empowering the federal government to go in and break down systems of power in order to liberate people for good. But that's not what you're doing. You're actually trying to use the federal government to limit people's freedoms in your party now.
When Haley wasn't busy going, yeah, but she was busy blaming the question or the questioner in this case.
It was definitely a Democrat plant. That's why I said, what does it mean to you? And if you notice, he didn't.
Okay, but so what if it was Democrat play? It's a very easy question. Wouldn't matter if it was literally Joe Biden himself. If he just asks you a simple question, like what was the Civil War about, you should be able to answer that regardless of who's asking the question.
I mean, it's like, so even again, if it's Democratic plant, the question, you think this is what they actually thought would be the gotcha question? Nikki, what are you saying about yourself? If you think that a gotcha question to you is that you will fuck up an answer about the Civil War, and then you do.
Yeah.
It sounds like you can't answer a simple question that everyone could answer, even like Jimmy Fallon or whoever would have, or the other one, Brian, whatever. I don't remember all the late night hosts who go out and look for Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel.
I think it is. Yes. Goes out and looks for people who can't answer basic questions. He would struggle to find people for that segment.
Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. And also, you're kind of saying that they fucked you. They win because they planted someone to ask you a question you couldn't answer, and you couldn't answer it. So they win. They betted you. They fucked you over. And you're admitting that in public. Interesting power play.
Didn't answer anything. The same reason he didn't tell the reporters what his name was. We see these guys when they come in. We know what they're doing.
Asking you questions.
Now, it made for a
Also, excuse me, right? I know people only say this when they're pretending, mostly, but it is certainly still true. That you were attempting to become the president of all Americans, including Democrats. So surely they are allowed to ask you questions.
Yes, yeah.
As the people who are your employers, your bosses.
Yeah.
Tens of millions of them. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what state she was in, if it was an open primary or closed primary state.
New Hampshire.
I think they're closed primary, but I can check. I think people can switch registrations though.
Yeah.
So again, I just like, if you admit that you can't answer a question that like someone could trip you up by asking you about the Civil War, what does that say about
you? Maria, exactly. Black Americans as well.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if a black person asked her a question. Good God. She might actually just start spitting venom from 10 feet away like a fucking lizard. I don't know.
Low-hanging fruit for her rivals in this race.
Not that difficult to identify and acknowledge the role slavery played in the Civil War.
This sounds like some fucking CRT. What's going on here? Woke DeSantis over here. What a cock.
I'll make it easy for you. If someone asked me what the cause of the Civil War was, it's easy. It's slavery.
And he was governor of one of the few states who voted for McClellan. So, like, do you know what I mean? If even he can say it, yeah, that's right, New Jersey, I am holding you against it 160 years later. And what?
Yeah, you hold a grudge, Kev.
Exactly. Well, I think there was only like 2 states that voted for him or something ridiculous. Yeah. Anyway.
But for Haley, a 2-term governor from South Carolina, this is actually not a new question at all. Journey back to us to 2010 when she got nearly an identical question.
I think you had one side of the Civil War that was fighting for tradition, and I think you had another side of the Civil War that was fighting for change. You know, at the end of the day, what I think we need.
Okay. I mean, that's one interpretation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without saying the word slavery.
Yeah, like, is she allergic to the word? Does she come out in a rash or something? What's like, you can't just say one side was fighting for slavery and the other side... Well, it's complicated. We'll get into it. The other side were not perfect by any means. But it was essentially, should we do that slavery thing anymore? Probably not. Let's not do that. That conversation, but with 600,000 dead people, as you do.
Yeah, after 4 years.
Normal, very normal country.
To remember is that, you know, everyone is supposed to have their rights. Everyone's supposed to be free. Everyone's supposed to have the same freedoms as anyone else. So, you know, I think it was true.
Yeah, but the side fighting for, let's use your parlance, tradition, were not arguing that, were they? They were arguing quite literally the opposite of that.
Yes.
That people shouldn't have equal rights.
That was the change side.
Yeah.
The
Although
progressive
again,
side.
equal rights, let's not, again, it's very complicated, but certainly that they should be considered to be human and citizens, yes.
Tradition versus change is the way I see it.
Tradition versus change on what?
On individual rights and liberty of people.
Again, in a very, very loose sense, not incorrect, but like that is some passive voice nonsense right
She's
there.
doing so much like, here, I'm going to take all these shots for the racist white people.
Yeah.
Who don't want to be offended to be reminded that their great-great-grandpappy was a racist piece of shit.
So in terms of like tradition, does she mean like, I don't know, Christmas? Or something like that. It's probably just Christmas and like family and that. It's
Driving on the right-hand side of the road.
exactly.
That's a tradition.
And that was before cars. So
Tradition versus change, but again, slavery is the word that is conspicuously absent from that.
Like if I was from South Carolina, I would make a push to definitely be like, yeah, it was slavery, man. But can we like
be honest about this shit?
Can we not?
Just,
let's like. I mean, yeah. Oopsie, we did a bad one. All right, chill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's just like, no. I'm just gonna style it out and pretend like that word doesn't exist. What are you doing? Oh God! And she's supposed to be like what the moderate candidate in the race, or the moderate, not anti-Trump person. Like obviously, Christie's putting himself as like the anti-Trump person, but she's saying, well, I'm not as extreme as DeSantis and Trump. I can win over moderate voters in America with my pro-slavery shit.
I don't really tend to think of the Republican Party as conservatives and right-wingers so much as I think about them as right-wing MAGA and right-wing not MAGA.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
They don't really have a lot of policy differences in that party.
Yeah. It's probably just how blatant can your racism be?
Yeah.
It's more a kind of tone issue than anything. Like, yeah, we do want to definitely like kill all immigrants, but you can't just say that, Donald.
I mean,
you have
honestly,
to say like extraordinary measures at the border or something. You know?
They're not running at all on policies. They're not.
Well, they literally.
They're just running on whether or not they're Donald Trump. That's the only question that needs to be decided. Are you going to vote for Trump or not?
Yeah. Well, they gave up on that completely in 2020 when they didn't even have a platform. They literally didn't. I think for the first time ever, basically, a major party for president didn't have a platform at all. They just decided not to have one. Just whatever Trump was doing. So policy is not relevant to anything then. Policy doesn't mean anything. It's just the whims of a fucking madman lunatic baby. Brilliant. I mean, fucking brilliant. You have sold your soul to the shittest devil. Honestly.
Answer when it obviously should not be. 163 years after South Carolina seceded
I'm gonna go
from
and do my thing. You do your thing.
Yes. Yeah, Christy's got a thing to do. Anyway. Hello there, everybody. How are we all? Yes. You can hit the follow button. You can. I believe in you. You can hit you can subscribe as well. If you're over on YouTube, you can come over to the Twitch. If you're on Twitch, you can go over and check me out on the YouTubes as well. I'll be putting up, I'll probably do it tonight before I leave if I've got time, the discussion with Bowler Hat Man about whether to vote for Labour or not. I'll put that up on my channel. It's already there. I can just have to release it if I remember to after this. So yeah, go and check that out. What else am I doing? Yeah, so you can subscribe to the channel. You can do bits messages. 200 bits or more will get you a text to speech. You can do super chats messages via the Streamlabs link below. $2 or more, that gets you a text to speech. You can help me out on the Patreon. You can go over to the Discord. I've got Facebook, YouTube's, Twitter's, although maybe not for that much longer because what else? TikTok, Blue Sky, which is probably where I'll jump over to if if the Twitter thing dies, which it probably will. So there's that. Yes, and of course, yeah, later on tonight, or I suppose technically maybe tomorrow night, or tomorrow morning, I should say. I'm on the Hippy Dippy reprise, rebirth, back from the dead, one-off special thing, and I'll be on that at 9 p.m. Eastern time, which is 2 p.m. in the morning here on in the UK on proper time. Saturday morning indeed. But I'll probably come on a bit before then, so like maybe at the start of their show, and then I'll watch that bit until I'm on it, and then I'll be on it, so we'll watch that. Yeah, and then I'm going the fuck to bed. So you can't watch that bit. I don't know why you'd want to. People do that though, you know.
What's that?
Sleeping on Twitch.
They watch people sleep on Twitch?
Well, I don't know how many people actually watch the people sleeping, but people broadcast themselves sleeping.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's literally its own thing. I'm only sleeping is the title of it, right?
Wow.
The section, and people like broadcast themselves sleeping. So I don't know what that's about, but people. I mean, I've given up trying to understand what people do. To be honest,
They are an interesting lot.
They are.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally making money while you sleep, though.
Yeah, exactly. I suppose that's the point, isn't it? Yeah. Watch me sleep. Why would I watch you sleep? Detroit by Dark. Why would I do that? I think that was TOS. Have they stopped that now? Then have they? I don't know.
Watching people sleep? What's TOS about it?
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of weird and niche and stuff, but I don't see where it's
as long as they're clothed. Naked sleeping would be a problem, I guess. But like clothed sleeping, what's the? I mean, it's not surreptitious. It's not like a spy cam watching someone sleep. They themselves are broadcasting it. Yeah. I don't see the problem with that particularly. But whatever. Anyway.
There is no debate that slavery sparked that war. There was no debate in 1860 when South Carolina decided to secede and cited increasing hostility on the part of the non-slaveholding states.
This is quite nice. Okay, so someone sent me a link to wasthecivilwaraboutslavery.com.
Oh, does it just say yes, obviously? Is the entire webpage?
It just says yes. It does then have a bit of an explainer, but like the word yes.
Just there.
Yeah. Which, fair enough. Anyway, so that was her thingamajig. We've got this Confederate monument, something Arlington National Cemetery.
Oh yeah, this is related because it's slavery.
Indeed.
Civil War.
With the side that your state was fighting for. The answer for the 1st Alabama Cavalry was to fight against Alabama and the Confederacy and for the Union. The new book, Silent Cavalry, tells that story. White volunteers from the Confederate States made up almost 5% of Lincoln's army. White support for the war peaked after the attack on Fort Sumter in 1861, but declined steadily after the Union victory at Shiloh in the spring of 1862. How then did the Civil War become the only conflict in which, as filmmaker Ken Burns told me, the losers got to write the history, erecting...
Because the winners were too nice. The winners went, we need to be friends again.
Well,
expecting reciprocity in that exchange.
Yeah, I think the white Southerners were more invested in redeeming their pride than white Northerners were in continuing to like shove it in their face and make them learn their lesson.
Yeah.
Like we couldn't be bothered anymore. Like the war happened. Now people wanted to go back to just making money, and black people were not really considered part, an important part of the agenda.
Well, I genuinely, I've been meaning to do this since I started, really, I guess. But I wanted to do like a documentary type video or whatever on the connection between the life of Jesse James and the Reconstruction era, because for me he's the perfect exemplar of, or his life and the way in which it panned out after the war was the perfect exemplar of the way in which the connivance of those southern states allowed evil to prosper for another century or more. Well, to this day, really, because literally he was aided and abetted by various southern authorities to do, to go around being a fucking massive criminal. Even though he literally was known, he took part in the Centralia massacre, where literally surrendered Union troops were literally butchered during the Civil War, and he was just protected because, again, he was sort of seen as a fighting back against the Yankees type deal. It was an extension of the Civil War, if you will. Yeah, and it wasn't until that got quite serious that eventually, with the connivance of a southern governor, he was murdered. Look, it's a really weird story, but I think fits in perfectly with that pattern. But that would take a lot of scripting and editing, and I can't be bothered. But it's a great story. You should all read about it. If all you've ever heard about is, oh, we did some robbing and stuff, no, it's actually much more interesting than that. And he didn't go down in flames. Cher is a liar. Just saying.
Statues of Johnny Reb outside seemingly every courthouse in Alabama. And in the 20th century, after the history of the Civil War had been romanticized into mythology, the Confederate statues and monuments moved north. In 1914, the Confederate memorial statue was unveiled in what had been a cemetery for Union soldiers, Arlington National Cemetery. Here is Arlington National Cemetery's official description of that Confederate monument. 32 life-sized figures depict mythical gods alongside Southern soldiers and civilians. Two of these figures are portrayed as African American, an enslaved woman depicted as a mammy holding the infant child of a white officer, and an enslaved man following his owner to war. The Pentagon is in the process of removing the Confederate memorial from Arlington National Cemetery. More than 40 Republican members of Congress are demanding that the Pentagon stop the removal. The Republican governor of Virginia wants the monument to be relocated to Battlefield State Historical Park in the Shenandoah Valley. Joining us now is the former executive editor of the New York Times.
No. Sheridan cleared the fucking Shenandoah Valley of rebel scum. I don't want him fucking replaced. Fuck that noise. Anyway, on the point of the Civil War, etc., etc., I cannot not go with Checkmate Lincolnites.
Okay, let's go.
This series is so good, it makes me come. Anyway, the real cause of the Civil War. Let's go.
Really, Sean? Yeah, come on, give me a kiss, big boy. Ooh, you're making me wet.
Hey, what's up?
Not to say, sir. It is time to make another episode of Checkmate Lincolnites, a wildly unpopular internet show.
No, man, no. I am done talking about the Civil War.
Oh, come on now, sir. Everybody wants you to do it.
I don't care. I used to think that my Civil War videos could do some good, but nobody's minds are getting changed. They either think I'm a Yankee butthurt soy boy or the second coming of hippie Jesus. There are some people out there who call me a bread tuber.
Bread tuber? Does that refer to Vino Farm's early content?
No, apparently it's just liberals who make YouTube videos.
Well, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard.
I know, I'm just so over it.
Oh, come now, sir. Well, that's no fun for anybody.
No, I mean it, man. I'm done. Just let me make my weird homoerotic Nazi videos in peace. Jesus.
I'm sorry you feel that way, sir. I suppose I'll have to do it myself. And I can tell everyone how the War of Northern Aggression was fought over tariffs and taxes.
He's kind of got a Bo Berman vibe to him, doesn't he?
He does, he does. See, I don't think a Confederate soldier would vape. I don't think that would be a thing they'd do.
No, they'd be too. That's too newfangled for them. They'd be more old school than that.
Exactly.
What you got there? Oh, it's just a delicious bottle of Jack Daniels. I'm playing the whataboutism drinking game. Basically, whenever you try to divert the conversation by pointing out something bad the Union did, I take a drink.
That's ridiculous. You Yankees do that just as much as we do. Checkmate Lincolnites! The program where we annihilate academic historical consensus in favor of true history, which my grandpappy revealed to me one Lee Jackson day after he had consumed an entire 12-pack of Natty Light all by himself. Tonight, we shall reveal the true reason for Southern secession.
Preserving slavery?
Yeah, Civil War was fought over slavery. Not that the South was paying 80% of the taxes of the entire nation.
What?
Cat got your tongue. Can't think of one of your pithy comebacks?
No, I'm just trying to process what you just said. So that's not true. It's not even close to truth. It's not in a 50-mile radius of truth. Like, if you dropped an atomic bomb on truth, what you just said wouldn't even have radiation burns. See, in the days before the Civil War, income taxes, property taxes, sales taxes, those weren't really a thing.
Yeah, going back to the point I made earlier about the way in which the vast expansion of the federal government, because it was the first ever instituted income tax in American history.
Yeah, they had an amendment to the Constitution for that even.
Yep. So, you know, when you
Imagine
talk about
a Constitution where people actually agree to tax themselves.
Yeah. A Republican president did that. Fuck!
Oh, I'm pretty sure Glenn Beck said that's one of the presidents you should hate.
What, Lincoln?
The one who instituted the income tax, yeah.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. He was probably a Maoist as well. 100 years before Mao. You know. Actually, no, when was Mao born?
I have no idea.
Probably about 50 years before Mao. Something like that.
So when you're saying taxes, you're referring to tariffs on imports, which is how the federal government made its money. We actually have a record of most of the foreign goods imported into the United States just before the war in the annual report of the Chamber of Commerce of the state of New York. The report shows that from July 1859 to June 1860, $233.7 million worth of foreign goods were brought into the port of New York, of which $203.4 million were subject to tariffs. During that same time period, all other American ports combined took in just $128.5 million worth of goods, of which $76.5 million.
So just the state of New York alone is like three-quarters of the federal government's income.
Thank you, New York.
But you know, it was the South that what was paying all of the taxes. Yeah. Shut the fuck up.
Were subject to tariffs. The numbers don't lie. New York merchants were single-handedly paying 63.5% of all the federal government's revenue that year.
Although they were also making all that money, too.
Eh?
They were making all that money, too.
Yeah.
New York had provided nearly 2/3 of the government's revenue in the previous 5 years as well. That city was the government's biggest cash cow by a huge margin, followed only distantly by Boston in second place and New Orleans in third.
So even the second place was in the north as well? Jesus.
Yes.
So those two ports alone were paying like 3/4 of the taxes?
Damn.
Wow.
Hey, did you listen to a word I just said?
The South left because of the Morrill Tariff. The Union killed Indians and exiled Jews. Look up Judah P. Benjamin, the Jewish Confederate. But why did the Federals fight? The Yankee mercantilism that was going to be in trouble if the South won its independence. Oh, no. They would have a next-door competitor charging a 10% tariff compared to the Morrill Tariff of 40%. There you go. Ooh, checkmate, Lincolnites. That's the name of the program.
You want to talk about the moral tariff? Let's talk about the moral tariff. Put very simply, it was a reaction to the Panic of 1857 and was meant to jumpstart the nation's struggling economy.
It may have aided your Hamiltonian industries, but not our Jeffersonian agriculture. Y'all were just trying to develop your New England factories into something that would rival the profitable and well-established factories of Britain. Meanwhile, you had Pennsylvanians in particular, but many northern industrialists, petitioning the government to make it more favorable for them, financially beneficial for them. The whole affair reeked of nepotism and corruption. Furthermore,
You're right.
I am?
Yes, that is what happened.
Wait, we actually agree on something?
Yes, the moral tariff was unquestionably favorable for northern interests and detrimental to southern ones. But it wasn't passed through Congress until March of 1861. And if southern states hadn't started seceding in December of 1860, then there's no fucking way it would have gotten passed. So
yeah, they've got to bear that in mind. Yeah.
Time is a linear thing.
Yeah, the reason that so much progressive legislation was able to get passed was because all those southern states had no representation in Congress anymore. Because they'd all fucking left.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, the only senator from a seceding state that remained loyal to the Union was Andrew Jackson. Who would go on to become... Not Andrew Jackson.
Johnson?
Johnson. Sorry, yes. Johnson, who would go on to become Abraham Lincoln's second vice president.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
True.
Rather than being the cause of secession, the moral tariff happened as a result of secession. In any case, it was just one of many grievances that Southern Democrats had with Northern Republicans. The principal one was the Republican stance on slavery.
Saying the Civil War was only about slavery is ignorant. The Civil War was extremely complicated. What about the Tariff of 1861?
I literally just
Or the
talked
dozens of
about
newspapers speaking of a tax war. Most historians agree that the Civil War was too complicated to tell. What about the 70% of men who didn't own slaves and fought for what?
Well, at least you got the percentage of slave owners right this time. Those newspapers you're referring to were mainly British rags, like the London Times. The Brits, they had a vested interest in keeping that transatlantic cotton trade going to fuel their own industries. Naturally, they sided...
Yes, that Andrew Johnson was a racist slag.
Oh, yeah,
That is
absolutely.
True.
Yeah.
What a melt.
Southern Democrats who were all about free trade, and they shared their criticisms of the moral tariff, which was extremely protective. The Confederate government desperately needed British assistance if they had any hope of winning the war, so they encouraged that myth that the war was being fought over taxes, Britain, of course, being very anti-slavery at the time. But some British abolitionists knew better. The philosopher John Stuart Mill wrote an opinion piece.
Of his own free will, on half a pint of shandy, was particularly ill.
Nice.
That's from the
Yes.
Philosopher's Drinking Song.
In a pro-union newspaper in 1862, in which he correctly stated,
"There is a theory in England that on the side of the North, the question is not one of slavery at all."
The fuck is that on his head? Oof.
Looks like a cyst.
Yeah, that is. That's not a good look.
What about
Honestly, I'd have that lanced before the photograph, mate.
Yeah.
Do you know what
Probably
I
a
mean?
couple months.
Also,
just so you return to
comb your hair. What the fuck is going on here? Like you spent too much time on the fucking tie and not enough on literally your fucking head. Sorry, he's making a very good point about slavery. Anyway.
The North, it seems, have no more objection to slavery than the South have. Their leaders never say one word implying disapprobation of it. They are ready, on the contrary, to give it new guarantees, to renounce all that they have been contending for, to win back, if opportunity offers, the South to the Union by surrendering the whole point. If this be the true state of the case, what are the Southern chiefs fighting about? Their apologists in England say that it is about tariffs and similar trumpery. They say nothing of the kind. They tell the world, and they...
Trumpery. I think in light of Donald's rise to political prominence, we should bring back trumpery as a word for nonsense.
Yes.
Yeah.
told their own citizens when they wanted their votes that the object of the fight was slavery. The world knows what the question between the North and South has been for many years, and still is. Slavery alone was thought of, alone talked of. Slavery was battled for and against, on the floor of Congress and in the plains of Kansas. On the slavery question exclusively was the party constituted which now rules the United States. On slavery, Fremont was rejected. On slavery, Lincoln was elected. The South separated on slavery, and proclaimed slavery as the one cause of separation.
He goes on to predict that as the war continued, the cause of preserving the Union would become inseparable from the cause of abolishing slavery. That came to pass when Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation.
Yeah, everyone who made that prediction comes out of that looking fucking brilliant. Because loads of dickheads were like, oh, it's not about slavery. What are you talking about? Even loads of Union people We literally fought. I mean, when he signed the Emancipation Proclamation, and there was an Ohio regiment or something, downed arms and went home. And in order to stop, he couldn't imprison them because he'd start fucking riots or whatever. So he just had to sort of let it happen. But loads of them didn't even realise why they were fighting, really. Because it's white people.
Well, they thought they were fighting, for like one principle. But if you're going to make it suddenly about freeing black people, forget that.
Yeah, like, so you were prepared to fight and die for like a constitution? What? The fuck is wrong with you? It's a bit of paper, which can be amended, as as you can tell. It's a thing.
Proclamation. After that, as a direct result of that, the British public became very uncomfortable with the idea of supporting the Confederacy.
In your eagerness to blame white people in every video you make, you've forgotten about the nullification crisis. South Carolina nearly rebelled during Andrew Jackson's presidency over just such a protectionist tariff.
That's true, but as John C. Calhoun himself pointed out in 1830,
I consider the Tariff Act as the occasion, rather than the real cause of the present unhappy state of things. The truth can no longer be disguised that the peculiar domestic institution of the southern states, and the consequent direction which that...
Peculiar institution of the southern states.
They really talked around things, didn't they, back in the day?
They went full Halo. And you never go full Halo, okay?
True.
Her soil hath given to her industry has placed them in regard to taxation and appropriations in opposite relation to the majority of the Union.
So in summary, protective tariffs were a big point of contention between North and South leading up to the Civil War, but it was ancillary to and directly influenced by the South's dependency on slave labor, which they would do anything to preserve and defend.
You can eat shit. If the North was so damn noble, why did the same damned army that invaded the South kill the American Indians? Sounds like bullshit to me.
So we're back
Why
on
don't you
this
have a debate
point,
with a real person instead of playing with yourself? Stop whining, because we have had so much pro-union, one-sided crap. You get triggered
facts?
when the Tiger side is allowed to have their say. The South U.S. everywhere south of the Canadian border. Both sides were pro-slavery. The Confederacy just never lied about it. Now I'm gonna bring some Confederate flag waving, hip-hop, tub, and black dance party.
Wait, did we run out of comments?
Tubs creating the ultimate dilemma.
I think we ran
You
out
can
of
pretend
comments.
you can
Listen,
claim that everybody flying the rebel flag is racist.
have a meaningful connection with human beings.
But we enjoy hip-hop
Play outside or some shit.
over that mumble
I'll see you later.
BS
Bye.
nowadays.
See, even it was fine when it was hip hop, but this mumble
That
rap.
went well.
Very good.
Anyway, everyone go and follow Atunche Films, who is just the video creator I wanted to be, and was too lazy and not talented enough to be. Anyway, very good. Anyway, so yeah, it was
that was good.
It was about slavery.
So we've got some other long ones coming up. That's what she said.
I don't know. Have we? What have we got? States' rights. No,
Yeah.
we really haven't. No. Hang on.
Wow, we're zipping through this. It's
Yeah,
gonna be like a less than 2 hour show. What?
Wow. Again, this one pretty much says it all. Can we get some lols in chat for Henry Kissinger still being dude?
Yeah, he's still dude.
The fact that he's dude, honestly, I'd be happy for him to come back and then die again. Maybe that's what we could do. Make it a yearly tradition. He comes back for one day and then dies again. Because it was fucking fun. God, we had fun with that. Dude.
What's this one? Oh, well, this is an interesting way to end the episode, but okay.
Yeah.
I like what the wheel did here in terms of you either open with it or you end with it. So.
True. Yes, friend of the show, Steve Shives. Does much. He does an incredible number of things on his channel, and he did the year in limericks, which is nothing to do with him spending 12 months in the Irish county of Limerick.
Although I bet he'd like to.
It's a lovely part of the world. But no, he wasn't. It's nothing about that.
It's time once again for my rhyming review of the year the whole world has nearly spun through. I can't claim it's witty, but I promise it's pithy, and begins without further ado. In D.C., the new year did rise, with Kevin McCarthy eyeing his prize. Though he lost the first ballot, he won the big mallet, and it only took 14 more tries.
That was amazing. He's such a fail.
Yeah.
And he didn't even last a year out. Fuck me, that's bad. That is tragic.
Lettuce days.
True.
As prices caused people to swoon, the press gave Joe Biden a boon. Despite the inflation, the talk of the nation was a Chinese surveillance balloon. New banks seemed to fail with each passing day. Cyclones and landslides swept people away. But the greatest excitement was for Trump's fraud indictment, the first drop of the flood on its way. Despite scandals and ongoing hardships, some news persuaded me to let my guard slip. It's the Artemis II NASA moon mission crew. It's lucky they're not flying Starship.
True.
After much disagreement and talk, the Hollywood writers decided to walk. The bosses said, do not like, but we'll last out this strike. We'll just make more reality schlock. As the feds' more indictments unloaded, Trump's legal woes truly exploded. He'd stashed many a box filled with government docs, till his plans, like the Titan, imploded.
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Ooh, I know. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about the fucking Chinese spy balloon as well.
Mm-hmm. A lot happened this year.
Yeah. A lot of dumb shit happened this year.
Yes. This year in dumb.
The studio heads cried, damnation! Striking actors forgetting their stations. We don't need social climbers to make more Barbenheimers. We can just use AI simulations. Charged with more crimes, Trump's defenses were feeble, but he took to the stage, and he spoke to the people. I'll yet slip the noose. I've the perfect excuse. I didn't know insurrection was even illegal.
It's really good.
He's really good.
He's really good.
He's really good.
He should do rap. But not like actually do the rap because he's white as fuck, but like...
Write it?
He could write rap, yeah.
He could go someone else's lyrics.
Yeah.
It was the automobile business' turn to be floored by a strike against GM, Stellantis, and Ford. The union told the big three, this ends once you agree to spread round that money you hoard. The Republican caucus pitched fits because Speaker McCarthy was purely the shits. In a few weeks, the mob gave Mike Johnson the job, because the right likes its leaders sans wits. George Santos, corrupt Congress member, told his colleagues, now just you remember, I've got dirt I could share, but the House didn't care. They expelled him the 1st of December.
Nice. Also, I do want to watch In Praise of Pettiness from Steve from a few days ago as well.
Okay.
It looks fun. I don't know.
In Gaza, the dire conditions caused Joe Biden to shift his positions. All this bombing civilians makes you look like the villains, read his note. Sent to Tel Aviv in a box of munitions. If my poetic report for you came off flat, 'cause I left something out of these verses I spat, no, I didn't aspire to write We Didn't Start the Fire. Besides, who'd want to hear a new version of that?
Hey. True.
Oh, Steve. What a contribution he makes to the world.
He does. An unsung hero. In Praise of Pettiness. I quite like the idea. I don't know what it's about, but I do. It's about
it sounds
pettiness.
like it sounds like it's in your it would be to your flavor.
Exactly. You can understand why that drew me like a
You're
moth to
petty
the
as
flame.
fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're petty as fuck.
Yeah, absolutely. You went a bit Scarlet then.
Scarlet is an O'Hara, as in Gone with the Wind.
Yeah. You're petty as fuck.
I do declare.
Yeah, honestly, I'm swooning at the thought, Krista.
Several years ago, when my grandmother was still living, we were hanging out, and it was around this time of year, the holiday season, and Granny said to me, do you donate to any charities? I did, and I do. It's a habit I picked up from Granny. Actually, she always donated to various organizations around the holidays, and once I was old enough, and...
It's really thrown me now that he's not rhyming.
True. This is rubbish.
Because
do more rhymes.
This is what I'm like after I came out of Hamilton. It's like, why doesn't the rest... Wait, why did the world stop rhyming? It made perfect sense. It worked it was so effortless the last 3 hours.
What's it? A ton shade. Oh, no, that's yeah. Sorry, that's. I just clicked on my own thing that someone else had pinned. There you go.
More to the point, financially stable enough, I started doing it too. I said to Granny, yeah, I donate to charities, and I rattled off a list of places I'd given money to over the years. Doctors Without Borders, the Reach Shelter, which is a homeless shelter here in Hagerstown, the American Humanist Association, the Trans Legal Defense and Education Fund, Planned Parenthood. Not all of those are charities, and I don't donate to all of them every year, but you get the idea. The short answer to Granny's question is yes, I donate to charities. Then I mentioned one other organization to which I've donated a time or two, the Red Cross. Granny wrinkled her nose. I chuckled and said, you don't donate to the Red Cross? And Granny said, not a penny. So I asked her why not, and some of you can probably guess the reason she gave. I'd never heard about this before this conversation with Granny, but among people from my grandparents' generation, Granny was in her early 80s at this time, and like I said, this was several years ago, this was apparently a really popular reason for not liking the Red Cross. The reason Granny never donated to the Red Cross is that in 1942, the Red Cross began charging soldiers for coffee and donuts. During World
Fucking what? What kind of motherfucking entitlement?
I didn't realise that donuts were a human right. Okay.
Yeah. 1942. So when did the U.S. enter the war? After December 41, right?
41, yeah.
Yeah. So for like 6 months, they just gave shit away to anyone just on the basis of being not in their economics.
Yeah.
Nothing to do. There's no income test on this. Just giving away coffee and donuts. And after several months of going, yay! Actually, we can't afford this indefinitely. We're gonna have to charge you a nominal fee to cover this. Like, fuck you, Red Cross.
And then fucking 60 years, 70 years later.
Still.
Honestly, she sounds like my kind of person. Hold a grudge, okay? People say don't hold a grudge. No, let it eat you up inside, okay? Let it control your every waking moment.
World War II, the Red Cross operated comfort stations overseas where American soldiers deployed to fight could go to get coffee and donuts. For the first few months of America's direct involvement in the war, these comfort stations provided the coffee and donuts for free. Then, in the spring of 1942, the Red Cross began charging soldiers at the comfort stations. And that, to some folks at least, was an unforgivable sin. Now here's the thing.
Unbelievable.
The Red Cross didn't start charging soldiers for coffee and donuts because of greed or anything like that. It wasn't even the Red Cross's idea. In May of 1942, the U.S. Secretary of War wrote to the head of the Red Cross asking that soldiers patronizing comfort stations be charged because our allies, the British, had been charging soldiers at their equivalent of comfort stations all along. And the fact that American soldiers were getting their coffee and donuts for free was becoming a source of tension between the two.
Fuck's sake. So it's actually the U.S. government.
Oh, so it's over coffeeed, over donutted, and over here.
Exactly. Exactly. You're not just impregnating our wives while we're away. You're getting free donuts, you cunts.
On the way there and back.
Exactly. Leaving fucking donut crumbs on my carpet.
Two armies.
I don't mind raising your child for the rest of its life while you fuck off back to Baltimore. But
I don't want to sleep in your crumbs.
Exactly.
Of donut crumbs.
I do not
powdered
need
sugar.
coconut shredded on my fucking carpet. It's an outrage. A man has limits.
Not only were Americans getting free donuts and coffee from the Red Cross, the American Army paid higher wages than the British Army too. So I get why the Brits may have felt...
Okay, but like, okay. Here's a thought. But pay the British ones more?
Yeah.
And don't charge them for donuts? Actually, would be fine.
By 1942, how long have you been in the war already?
3 years. But like, I don't think the donuts were the vast expenditure.
Yeah.
I don't think the coffee and donuts would have been actually that big a stretch at all. Just maybe get rid of one of Winston Churchill's fucking private cars or whatever. maybe the Queen could give up one castle. No, king. It would have been king then, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Felt some resentment. They were two armies on the same side in the same war, fighting the same enemy, but one army was not only better paid, they were also getting complimentary snacks? Doesn't seem fair. Oh, and the American soldiers who got donuts and coffee from the Red Cross after the new policy went into effect were charged around 2 cents per donut or cup of coffee. I say about because they paid with stamps, which they purchased in sheets, and a coffee or a donut cost 1 stamp. If you divide the price of the sheet by the number of stamps on the sheet, you get approximately 2 cents per stamp. So if you bought yourself a coffee and a donut, you'd be out 2 stamps, or a total of about 4 cents, which was less than most civilians were paying for coffee and donuts at the time.
Let's go. There's a thing on the internet where you can say what money, like over time, the inflation rate, right?
Yeah.
So 2 cents in 1942. How much would that coffee have cost today? Can you look that up?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes you have me look things up, so I just wanted to.
The value of 2 cents in adjusted. Yeah, go. You give me the number. The value in 2023 of 2 cents is 38 cents.
Not even 50 cents.
Yeah, which, I mean, the average cup of coffee is several dollars.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
38 cents.
38
They're
cents.
gonna take this will not. The dude will not abide.
Yeah, and for that 2 cents, an entire generation went, "Fuck you, we're never giving you a penny."
That coffee really pulled my breakfast together.
2 cents, man. Fucking hell. Also, it's the Red Cross.
Yes.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It's not even their main job.
Yeah, it's totally not their fucking main job to be a caterer for the US Armed Forces.
Oh. And the general consensus among the troops was that the Red Cross's coffee and donuts were excellent. The policy was immediately unpopular with American soldiers and folks on the home front. After the war, the Red Cross reversed course and once again began providing coffee and donuts to soldiers for free, which they still do to this day.
Holy shit, really?
So just to recap, the reason Granny refused to donate to the Red Cross is because it charged American soldiers for coffee and donuts, because the government asked it to, because it was creating tension with one of our allies. Soldiers were charged 2 cents per item, which was below the market price. They went back to giving the coffee and donuts away for free after the war and have continued to give them away ever since. And oh yeah, this was 80 years ago. Closer to 70 at the time of this conversation with Granny I'm telling you about, but still, a long time. And Granny was a child during World War II. So was my grandfather, her future husband. Pap was too young to serve in World War II, but he did serve in the Korean War. And I don't know if he ever got coffee and donuts from a Red Cross station, but if he did, he got them for free. It's remarkable.
Yeah. Fucking mad. Donuts are humor. I mean, a few issues here. Donuts is not spelt like that. You Americans are degenerate filth. Okay.
Shortcut spelling?
Yeah, DONUTS. You people make me fucking sick. Yes, crawlers for all. The fuck is that?
Crawlers.
Quallers.
Crawlers.
Crawlers.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not how it's spelled. But anyway.
Yeah, it's a type of pastry. I don't know how to spell it, if I'm honest.
Maybe, tasty, or no, not a right. Okay, well, the crawlers got all of the votes there.
Nice.
Remarkable how long we're capable of holding a grudge over nothing, isn't it? Yes, the Red Cross is a specific organization operated by specific people, but it's such a cultural institution that at this point it's almost an abstract concept, you know? The Red Cross, it's a thing unto itself, a whole, an entity that has always and will always exist. And Granny was mad at it for almost her entire life because of this thing it did.
And you know who we have to thank for the Red Cross?
No.
Napoleon.
Are you serious?
Not specifically, but it was a Napoleonic era battle in northern Italy that was so brutal that they decided to found the organisation that we now know as the Red Cross. Huh. Yeah. So
every day's a school day.
There. Napoleon wasn't technically at the battle though, but it's in the Napoleonic Wars, so it counts.
During that era.
Yeah.
In the 40s that she didn't appreciate.
Like, Hitler wasn't at Stalingrad, but, you know. He's still a cunt. Hot take. Hot take.
Yeah, so
I've cancelled Hitler.
So spicy.
Admire that. Oh, it's ridiculous. I'm not saying it's not ridiculous, but at the same time, it's impressive. Think of how much good the Red Cross has done just since World War II. Disaster relief, blood drives, CPR and first aid classes, support services for people in the military and their families. I'm sure they've fucked up a time or two as well, and I expect some of you in the comments will bring up a few examples of why actually the Red Cross isn't an organization that deserves our support, and that's fair enough. I'm not arguing that the Red Cross is perfect and blameless. I'm just saying, alongside whatever it's done wrong, it's done a hell of a lot right.
Yeah,
and if you have a reason for not wanting to support it, chances are it's a more compelling reason than charging GIs 2 cents for donuts to comply with a request from the War Department in 1942. But those 2-cent donuts are all...
That's mad, isn't it? I mean, I'm petty, but I don't think I'd hold a grudge for 70 years over 2-cent donuts. Fuck me. That is mental. Oh, Granny was, she was fucked.
She was edge.
She was fucked.
She was hard edge.
No, she did not let things go.
All the reason Granny needed. And I admire that. So long as they're not rooted in bigotry or any such thing, I don't begrudge people their petty grudges. I admire the pettiness. I admire the stubbornness. When you meet an older person and you learn about some small but potent resentment they've been holding on to their whole life, something that pissed them off that happened decades before you were even born, and the thing they were pissed about is long gone now, faded into irrelevancy, but they still won't let it go. They clenched that fist back then, and they're going to keep it clenched until their undertaker has to pry it open. That's persistence. That's the unbreakable human spirit. It's awesome. It's inspiring.
Okay, Steve's he's gone a bit weird. He's gone a bit weird.
Yeah, I think he's doing it for comedic effect, but yes, he's definitely.
Yeah. It's weird. It's just no. Fair. To be fair, the video's called "In Praise of It." You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
You were warned.
Yeah. In a lowbrow sort of way. I used to know another older lady, not my grandmother, somebody else's, who hadn't spoken to one of her sisters since they were both in their early 20s. At the time when I learned this...
This is honestly true, right? My dad, when he was a young man, he'd just come over to England, and his uncle had been in Britain for quite some time, right? So this was back in the 1960s, I think.
Yeah.
And they used to attend football matches, Birmingham City, naturally. It's a family tradition of hatred passed down from generation to generation, where you end up ruining the existence that you live. Anyway,
cursed, really.
Yeah. Like, I mean, some people
Family
have like
cursed.
a propensity for cancer or something like that, which we also have. But there's this anyway, and his brother. So my dad's also uncle, I suppose. Anyway, his brother, who he hadn't seen for about 30 years, he was saying, they passed each other in the street on the way to the game, and he bumped into him. He just said hello, and he said, "Oh, you're right," and just walked on.
Okay.
And my dad, who was only about 17, 18 at the time, and said, "Oh, who was that?" And he explained. He was like, "That's your brother, who you haven't seen for 30 years, and you just said hello, and walked past each other." They didn't like each other, so they just hadn't spoken for 30 fucking years. Mad.
That's one way to avoid conflict.
Mad story. Mental. Fucking mental. And he was. I met him briefly. He's dead now, obviously. But I met him as a child, and he was mental. So I think it's a family tradition, that, being fucking crazy. Anyway.
She was in her early 90s. Why had she and her sister not been on speaking terms for 70 years? If she ever told me, I can't remember. It wasn't important. It didn't seem all that important to her at the time. Some disagreement or personal slight, something that didn't matter at all in the grand scheme of things that took place a lifetime ago. But by then it didn't matter what the reason was. All that mattered was the fact of their estrangement and her resolve that she wasn't going to be the first to reach out. If her sister wanted to reconcile, her sister was going to have to come to her. It wasn't just her sister either. This lady collected lifelong grudges, the same way other women her age collected Waterford glassware, which I believe she also collected. She had a former best friend she hadn't spoken to for about 30 years. They fell out over something at church. Somebody parked in somebody else's parking space and refused to apologize. That wasn't the actual reason, but it was similarly trivial. From best friends to acting like the other didn't exist in an instant. Over nothing. This lady I'm telling you about died years ago. So far as I know, she never spoke to her sister or her old friend again. A lot of you probably think that's sad, which I do understand. You think about your siblings or your closest friends. You imagine never speaking to them again.
I don't fucking talk to them. I go day to day. I don't give a fuck. If they want to talk to me, they've got my number. I might answer. You know.
Yep.
Over some meaningless disagreement or some petty betrayal, and it breaks your heart. But this lady I'm telling you about, she seemed fine with it. Maybe even a little proud. So you know what? Good for her. Part of why I admire the petty grudges of others is that I don't really have any of my own. I wish I did. I've had plenty of grudges against plenty of people, places, and things, but they've all been for unquestionably valid reasons. I want a childish, unjustified grudge. An axe I can grind for the rest of my life for purposes that will eventually be lost even to me. I've tried. I had a pretty good grudge going against Derek Jeter back in the day when he was a star shortstop and his Yankees were always at the top of the standings while my Orioles were mostly the shits. What a cocky little prick he was. I hated his face. I hated his body language on the field. I hated his mannerisms when he was at bat. I hated him! For years I held the grudge. But then, time passed. He got older. He retired. He became an analyst for Fox's coverage of Major League Baseball. And then came that terrible day when I thought to myself, I guess Derek Jeter's not so bad. It's always bothered me how some people feel like they need to step in and try to get people to drop their long-running, trifling resentments. I mean, if it seems like it's having a negative effect on their mood or their mental health more generally, if it's a wound that needs to be healed and you care about them and think you can help, sure, go for it. But if they share with you that they no longer speak to their sibling or their former friend or one of their parents or whoever, and they tell you why, and it's for
yes, fuck the Yankees, yes. Correct.
Some absurdly petty reason, but they're good, it's not bothering them, it's not eating away at their soul, just let it be. Let them have it. And for your part, stand back, take it in, behold it, and appreciate how majestic a petty grudge can be.
True.
There you go. Very nice.
What a note to end on. In what will probably be our last show of the year. I imagine.
Yeah, I think I'm playing a game on New Year's Eve. You're going to go out and party with your friends, presumably?
Friends is a loose one.
People you know. Okay.
Humans that exist.
Yeah, I think I'm playing D&D tomorrow. I don't really know. I got to check in. It's been a while because of vacations and everything, and then being in the Christmas markets all kind of got messed up with the... So I don't really know what's happening over on Rolling Left, but...
Well, neither do I, because I don't watch.
Yeah.
Because
I think there's a lot of New Year's Eve game and a New Year's Day evening game.
New Year's Day evening game?
The first.
Are you not going anywhere then?
No, I am staying in. I may just dip outside a little bit, but I mean the fireworks here just go on for 30 minutes. Like honestly, it's just ridiculous. So I can just sit in my house and look out the window, and I don't have to be out in the crowds or risk COVID or do anything like that.
Yeah, true. Hang on, what? Removing Trump from the ballot just proves Democrats have to cheat to win.
What? How is following the Constitution and state law cheating? It's not. It's kind of the opposite.
I mean, they didn't cheat in 2020, so...
Yeah, that's proven because there are literally no like systemic voter fraud found anywhere.
Exactly. There's a
Years later.
non-zero number.
Someone must be trying to wind us up by being
I imagine.
a reverse troll.
Some twat in YouTube chat. Which just goes to show
Of course, YouTube, not Twitch. Okay.
Exactly. The YouTube chat are fucking scum. No, I'm only joking. If you're in YouTube chat, you're probably fine. It's just that person's a dickhead.
I just love how all these people are complaining about the Constitution being applied to Trump. I'm like, yeah, this is how the law works. And, I know Chris Christie hates the Constitution now because he doesn't want to see it applied. Like, yeah, do you personally want to see people vote him out of office? Right, but if he's not qualified, then they, that's the rules.
Yeah.
Those are the rules we play by.
Trump hasn't been convicted of anything.
You don't have to be for the 14th Amendment, Section 3. Go look. You just have to engage in it. The legal definition is engage. And that's what the courts assessed, and it's also what the Secretary of State assessed. And they're also asked to determine other kinds of eligibility, which they routinely do. So they have the authority, and they have the state's rights to organize their elections and their ballots how they will. So everything was legal.
No, states' rights only applies to being racist or guns.
And stopping people from stopping women from traveling across boundaries of state borders. Yeah, they want to
Except if they use those states' rights to allow women to have abortions, then they need a constitutional ban. Yeah.
Texas is trying to subpoena a medical center, I think in Oregon, for its records on any Texas children residents who have been there.
That can't possibly be
Texas
illegal.
own you? Yeah, that's a violation of HIPAA, first of all. But yeah, well, you can't like just use the power of the state and taxpayer money to chase down people who are having treatment you disagree with in a state where it's legal. Republicans are fucking fascists, man. Get on the program. Come on, listen to our show more often. You'll learn these things.
No, I don't want scum like this listening to them.
How are they going to change their mind if they don't get exposed to?
I'm
better
sorry,
ideas,
someone who's just popped in saying Trump's been hardly done. Oh, it's terrible. Is never going to be convinced by anything. If you're still now in 2023, nearly 2024, a Trump stan, you're brain dead. You're rotted in the skull. Okay, you're gone. I don't know that I can help you. Really, by all means, subscribe to my channel and give me money or whatever if you want to. But like, you're probably literally fucking brain dead. You've got worms in your cranium. Soup. Okay.
And on that bombshell.
On that brainworm bombshell. I'm going to send everyone over to Lexo, who is awesome. An awesome trans dude, streamerino. Go and check him out. I don't know what they're doing, but whatever. Anyway, yes. On that bombshell, thank you for an amazing 2023, Krista. You've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been a year. It really has.
Well, quite literally, yes.
Yeah. And to another year of weeks of interesting things for us to laugh about, hopefully in a happy way and not a fascist crying, because otherwise, laughing so that we don't have to cry.
Yes, hopefully. But,
all right,
we'll wait and see.
We'll see.
Yeah. It's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from 2023. Say goodbye, 2023.
Goodbye, 2023.
The year did the bit.